Yes, here it is, the Aero 15 RTX version. Woo! Let's go, baby. Alright champs, let's get rid of Windows Home and let's get some Windows Pro. Copy and paste my code from the description. New codes, new discount. You can get Windows Professional, Office. Paste my code. Boom. It's Windows Pro time. Tell you there champs. Now, if you're new around here, come on, sub up, join the Woo train, slap that like button, ring the bell, ding-a-ling-a-dong. Now, what I have here is the new Aero 15, the RTX 2070 version. Now, you do have the option of an i9 and an RTX 2080 as well, 4K panel and 144 Hertz. But if you just want to know quickly, just check my last review on the last Aero. Pretty much everything's the same other than the trackpad. And of course, some other things that I will cover in the full review, like, all Intel inside, Samsung RAM, AI. Actual fact, there's quite a lot different, isn't it? So yeah, but the main show is the trackpad is better. Yes, I can concur with that. And of course, the i9 option and the RTX graphics. Now, this is a thin, light, premium package. It's only like 4.5 pounds, 2 kilos, 18.9, I think, millimeters thick. Every port you want. The fastest SD card reader, Thunderbolt 3, awesome. Now I'm going to cover this laptop more from a content creation person's, point of view, because this is something I'm really considering. Probably the most color accurate display out of the factory out of any laptops I've seen. So yeah, stay tuned for my content creation review. I've got to also see how good this trackpad is and can I actually video edit with the trackpad, because that's important to me. I don't want to have to carry a mouse all the time around with me. But for gaming, obviously you would. And the one I've been eyeing off, there is actually a model with an i9 RTX 2080 Max Q, and woo! Yeah, it's even actually cheaper than a MacBook Pro with the 4K display. Calibrated out of the factory, Pantone certified. A content creator's dream, because it has also that SD card reader. The fastest one you can get. Thunderbolt 3, it's got all that stuff. USB Type A and display port. It's got everything. And don't forget Ethernet. So for content creation, that's where I'll be concentrating mostly with this laptop. But I want to get a quick gaming review out there, and I'll say this thing games like a champ, of course. When it comes to thermals, that CPU will hit 90 and then they try and limit it. So when it hits that, you're going to see that clock and wattage throttle down a little bit. So when you game, sometimes that frequency will dip under 3 gigahertz. So the frequency sits between, the high 2000s and even 3.9 gigahertz, depending on the game. So it's just a bit of different way of doing things, like someone like Dell, they'll just let it run up to 100 degrees. And yeah, the clocks will be a little bit faster, but the temperatures, it's 100 degrees. It's up to you. Do you prefer that? A lot of people would prefer it would be under 90 degrees, and such a thin and light package, you can't complain. So when it comes to gaming, I would say here, if you want to game at 4K, get the RTX 2080, because the RTX 2070, yeah, it can play 4K, but you're going to have frame rates, in the mid 40s up to, low 50s. Games like GTA 5, yeah, it'll play 60 frames per second, 4K, even Overwatch. So if you want to play at 4K, get the RTX 2080. Now, I tested the games at 4K and Full HD. I tested them at medium settings. The thinking behind that is at 4K, you have to go to medium, and at Full HD, you have to go to medium too if you want to get those frames over 100 frames per second. It will play, max settings, 60 frames per second, pretty much every game. So don't worry about that. If you want to crank up the settings, yeah, you can do that. But you're not going to get over 100 frames doing that, which you want with the 144 Hertz display. But I have the 4K panel here, and it is an awesome display. Some people like 4K gaming. It's up to you. But don't forget, I strongly suggest the RTX 2080 if you're going to play at 4K. So anyway, in the brackets will be the 4K frames, and I'll read out the Full HD medium settings. So Deus Ex Mankind Divided, 76 frames per second. GTA Full HD, over 100 frames per second. Witcher 3, 118 frames per second. Woof, how good is that? PUBG, 128 frames per second. That's amazing. PUBG is really optimized now, I'd say. Overwatch, 141 frames per second, and that was at ultra settings. And to round it off, Battlefield 5, 106 frames per second. Now, when it comes to RTX, I would suggest also RTX 2080. If you're really serious about RTX, yeah, it will play medium settings RTX, near enough 60 frames per second at Full HD. To be perfectly honest, when it comes to RTX, it is better at the higher resolution. So anyway, you can see this thing games games like a champ. Stay tuned for my content creation review. I really want to see how this performs content creation. It is a gaming beast too. What more do you want in such a thin and light package? You're going to love it. For gaming, content creation, well, we'll find out soon enough. So I'd like to thank you for watching. And until next time, guys, tally ho.